Welcome back to the Brotherly Love podcast. In our last episode, we went deep. We traced morality back to its source. Through the jungles of our evolutionary biology, the lecture halls of Athens, and the quiet sanctuaries of global faith. We even stared down the concept of evil and realized it doesn't just float around in the dark. It only exists when a person, a moral actor, makes a choice to turn away from the light. But here's the thing. You can read every philosophy book in the library and still be a miserable neighbor. Theory is a blueprint, but a blueprint won't keep the rain off your head. A Mason isn't just someone who thinks about virtue. A Mason is a builder, and a builder needs tools. In this second episode, we're looking at what it means to actually live on the square. As Freemasons, we're often told that we aren't just here to be good in some abstract, vague way. We're here to meet the challenge of our daily lives. This episode is about the square in action. We're going to explore how we take those rough edges of our personality and start smoothing them out. Not just for our own sake, but so we can help expand our circle of concern. How do we move from me to we? How do we take that small, tight circle of people we care about and stretch it until it includes the stranger on the street? That's the work. So grab your apron and let's get to the bench. Close your eyes and imagine a late April afternoon in Ontario. The April showers have turned into a week-long deluge, and the Grand River is breaking its banks. You're in your small motorboat, the only person on this stretch of the river with the means to help. The current is treacherous. Debris is everywhere. You look at your fuel gauge. You have enough gas for exactly one rescue trip before the rapids become impassable. In front of you, 3 paths diverge. To your left, your own home. Your spouse and a child are on the roof. The water is rising and they're terrified. They're safe for the moment, but the structural integrity of the house is failing. They are your heart. They are your first circle. Directly ahead is Brother Smith. He's 90 years old, an old past master who taught you everything you know about the craft. He's clinging to a tree limb in the middle of the channel. He's exhausted. He's your brother. He is your second circle. To your right, a van has been swept off the road. Inside is a family of 4. Tourists from a country you've never visited. People you don't know, who don't even speak your language. They're trapped, and the van is starting to tip toward the deep water. They are the stranger at the gate. They are the third circle. The engine is idling. The clock is ticking. You can't save them all. You have to choose. Do you save your own? Do you save your brother? Or do you save the strangers who have no one else? This isn't an academic exercise. This is the friction of morality. As Peter Singer in 2011 famously argued, our moral development is measured by how far we can expand the circle of our concern beyond our own immediate kin. Us Masons are taught that the grand design of the craft isn't just about personal safety, it's about the relief of the distress, wherever they may be found. As we move through the working tools today, we're going to use this boat and this river to see if our masonry is just a decorative apron or a life-saving skill. Let's look at that boat again. Your hand is on the throttle. To your left, your family, the people you love most, are waiting. But before you can even steer toward them, there's a problem inside the boat. You're panicking. Your heart is racing so fast you can't think. Your passions, as we call them, are in total control. If you don't master yourself first, you're going to capsize before you reach anyone. This is why the work always starts internally. We have this tool called the common gavel. In the operative days, it was for breaking off the rough edges of stones to fit them for the builder's use. For us, it's about stripping away the vices and superfluities of life. Think of your own mind as that rough stone. You've got edges of anger, jealousy, or just plain ego that make you unbalanced. If you haven't used the gavel on yourself, you aren't a stable platform for anyone else. You can't be the man on the roof for your family if you're a man in pieces on the inside. Then there's a square. That's a tool we use to regulate our actions. It's about the 90-degree angle, the right way to live. When the current is pulling you and you're faced with that impossible choice on the Grand River, the square is what keeps you honest. It's the internal check that asks, is this action just? Is it true? We start with ourselves because morality isn't a performance for others. It's a discipline for the soul. If you can't master your own temper or your own selfish impulses, your morality is just a thin coat of paint on a rotten fence. As Singer 2011 points out, the first step in any ethical development is recognizing that we are agents of choice. You have to be the master of the boat before you can be a savior to the shore. In our tradition as Masons, this is the secret. It's not a password or a handshake. The secret is the quiet, difficult work of looking in the mirror and realizing that the first person you have to save from your own worst instincts is you. Only when you have quieted the storm inside can you navigate the storm outside. You can't build a temple or save a family with a broken set of tools. So you've gripped the throttle. You've mastered the panic. The boat is steady. Now you have to steer. Your eyes dart to the left, your family. Then they stop to the center, Brother Smith. He's 90 years old. He's a man who sat with you when you were a nervous initiate. He's the one who explained that the G in the center of the lodge wasn't just a decoration, but a reminder of a higher geometry. He's your brother. This is the second circle. It's where morality stops being about me and starts being about us. Biologically, we are wired for the first circle. Evolution has spent millions of years making sure you'd jump into a fire for your child. That's easy. But why would you risk your life for a man who isn't your blood? Why steer toward Brother Smith when your own family is still on that crumbling roof? This is what we call the laboratory of friendship. The lodge is a controlled environment where we practice expanding our concern beyond our biological kin. We call each other brother for a reason. It's a linguistic hack to trick our brains into extending that deep protective loyalty to a wider group. But there's a danger here. If we stop at the second circle, we've just created a bigger version of me. We've created a tribe. In the operative days, Masons had signs and tokens to recognize each other so they could ensure only qualified craftsmen got the work. It was about protection. Today, we have to be careful that our brotherly love doesn't become a wall that shuts the rest of the world out. If you choose to save Brother Smith, you're acting on a promise. You're honoring a covenant of friendship. But look to the right. The van is tipping. The strangers are screaming. They don't have a secret handshake. They don't know your traditions. If you only save your own, whether that's your family or your lodge brothers, are you actually being moral or are you just being loyal to your tribe? Peter Singer again argues that the circle of moral concern has been expanding throughout human history, moving from the family to the tribe to the nation. Masonry is designed to accelerate that process. We start with the brother because he's the easiest stranger to love. He's the bridge. We learn to care for him as a rehearsal for caring for the rest of humanity. But the river is still rising. The choice is getting harder. If you save the brother, the strangers might die. If you save the strangers, you break a bond with a man who has been a father figure to you. The square can tell you what is right, but the compasses is what tells us how wide that rightness needs to reach. We're moving from the laboratory or the lodge out into the wild current of the world. Are you ready to see what happens when the circle expands one more time? The river is roaring now. You're at the center of the storm. To your left is your family. Dead ahead is your brother. To your right, 4 strangers in a van. This is the moment where the working tools stop being symbols and start being weights. Let's be clear, there's no correct answer that will make you feel easy at night. If you save your family, you're a hero to your household, but you live with the ghosts of the others. If you save the strangers, you're a saint to the world, but a stranger to your own blood. You aren't here to judge the choice. You're here to feel the weight of it. No one faults a man for saving his child. In fact, our biology and our social contracts expect it. But the grand design of our craft pushes us towards something even more radical, the third circle. This is universal benevolence. This is the compasses in their widest possible arc. Think about those strangers in the van. They don't have a claim on your heart like your family. They don't have a claim on your honor like Brother Smith. Yet, they are 4 lives against 2 or 1. If we truly believe that every human being is a child of the same parent and that we all meet on a level, then those 4 strangers possess a spark of the divine that is equal to yours. Universal benevolence asks us to look past the faces we know and see the humanity we don't. It's the realization that my tribe is actually the human tribe. This is where we confront the humanitarian Mason. It's about breaking down the tribalism that keeps us safe but keeps us small. The most difficult leap in human history is when we begin to treat the interests of those outside of our group as equal to the interests of those inside. This is the ultimate high-stakes scenario. We use the compasses to keep our passions in check, especially the passion of favoritism. It's not that we love our families less, it's that we begin to value humanity more. When we meet on a level, we're stripping away the titles, the nationalities, and the languages. We're left with the bare, shivering reality of human existence. In this circle, the stranger doesn't exist. They are only people in need. The goal is to unite men of every country, sect, and opinion. The unity isn't just a nice sentiment for a dinner speech. It's a commitment to the idea that the life of a stranger in a van has the same intrinsic weight as the life of a king, or a brother, or even, and this is the hardest part, ourselves. The Grand River moral dilemma doesn't have a right answer, but it has a Masonic purpose. It forces us to see how far our compasses can actually reach before it breaks. It asks us if our morality is a small, flickering candle that only warms our own room, or a sun that shines on the evil and the good alike. So we've journeyed through the abstract origins of our moral sense and navigated the treacherous rising waters of the Grand River. We've seen that while the source of our morality might be a mix of biology, logic, and faith, the application of it is entirely in our hands. It's easy to talk about being good when the sun is shining and the river is calm. But the real work of a Mason happens in the storm. It's in the choices we make when resources are scarce and the pressure is high. Whether you steer that boat toward your family, your brother, or a van full of strangers, you felt the weight of the square. You felt the pull of the compasses. That tension is where the growth happens. We aren't trying to reach a finish line where we finally become perfect. There's no such thing as a finished temple in this life. We're just trying to make our rough ashlars a little smoother today than they were yesterday. We're trying to make sure that the next time we're faced with a choice, our circle of concern is just a little bit wider than it used to be. The tools of the craft are meant to be used out in the world where the people are. And as Masons, we need to meet the challenge of our times by being men of integrity in every facet of our lives. So, take a look at your own boat this week. Who have you been leaving out? Whose humanity have you been ignoring? It's time to adjust the compasses. It's time to get back to the bench. This is the Brotherly Love Podcast. Let's get to work.